Hi there, Alejandro Castro here with Khara Crosslight. And we wanted to come and to have a conversation about feeling paralyzed by loyalty. We want to have this conversation because there is a term in the Latin culture called familialismo. And familialismo means that when you are part of a family or culture of a family, you have to stay loyal to that family. And if you break the loyalty, you have violated some unspoken expectation, whether it's overt or covert, that you're not supposed to leave. You're supposed to stay here. And so we wanted to talk about being paralyzed by loyalty, because a lot of people do not launch. A lot of people do not fulfill their dreams or their desires because they have to stay loyal to an expectation that's unspoken sometimes. And sometimes it translates to business, to loyalty to bosses, loyalty to an agency, loyalty to a supervisor. So we wanted to have that conversation to see how many times as professionals have we been traumatized because of loyalty. What do you think, Khara?
Yeah, I mean, this is connected to our ideas of leadership trauma. So Alex and I do a retreat on healing from leadership trauma, which is why this conversation came up. And so even having a boss say something like, you have to put in your time, or you have to have skin in it, or there's all these like phrases of
Right.
like loyalty, of like you have to be here and put in your hours. I can't think of all of them because I've like tried to
We've
reject a lot of them.
invested,
Yeah.
we've invested so much in you, and this is how
Yeah,
you
you have to
repay
stay.
us. Yeah.
So it could be as something as simple as a contract that's like you have to be here for X amount of years, or it could be a dialogue between you and your boss where they say you can't go or you're going to fail if you go off on your own. So I feel like there's some scare tactics here too.
Correct.
That make people doubt their abilities, and so they don't launch.
Yeah. And so when you think about loyalty, loyalty is normally seen as a protective factor in a family, right? We're going to remain loyal. We're going to be supportive of each other. But when it comes to limiting you or not allowing you to grow and evolve, that's when it becomes ammunition. And so we have to be very mindful and careful when we feel a bit confused as to they're supporting me, yet I feel like they're holding me back at the same time. Explore that, sit with that, especially if it doesn't resonate with you. And if you are wanting to evolve and grow and you feel like someone or something is tying you down, explore how this loyalty is paralyzing you and how it's no longer serving you. And probably you need to process it because it can lead to trauma.
Yes, this video is an invitation to get curious of, do you have this experience happening right now? Have you had it happen in the past? If you've had leadership trauma, was this part of that dynamic? I don't know if this feels like a good place to put, but if you have watched Big Fat Greek Wedding, which is one of my favorite movies, there's a line where he's like, why do you do this to me? And she made a choice for herself and he made it about him. And so I feel like that's an example of what this might sound like when someone in a boss or authority position makes us question, should we go on and be independent or launch our own practices or whatever that looks like. You've seen that scene, right?
Oh yeah, and I'm glad you're bringing the cultural component because being a Latino immigrant male, I've seen that dynamic in Latin organizations where it's like we are Latinos, we're supposed to stick together, we're supposed to stay together, and there's power in numbers, 100%. However, a lot of times we see that familialismo translate into business, and a lot of people feel like they're backstabbing or they're offending or hurting the supervisor or the agency that helped them grow and evolve. But I think there's a season. There's a season for clinicians, a season for each employee. And I learned that as a agency owner, there's a season for all of us, and everybody's going to evolve and grow. They're not here forever. And so I see this a lot culturally within organizations where I feel like I'm betraying or I'm abandoning the community or abandoning my loyalty to the agency or the company. And so we want to really challenge these narratives and cognitive distortions that really limit us. So we invite you to explore it. And if you have been part of that, to join us, to look at what are some of the thoughts and beliefs that have been in my personal life and are now bleeding into my professional life and holding me back.
Absolutely. As a financial therapist, it's a question of like, are these beliefs mine to hold, or are these beliefs I need to let go of?
Correct.
And so I think that's kind of what you're talking about, is like getting curious, doing some work. So some of you just hearing the term leadership trauma, you might be curious why this is coming up. So obviously this video is an invitation to think about that. There's also an invitation to join us in June of 2025 for our leadership trauma healing retreat. So that's for therapists, clinical directors, and clinical supervisors, all mental health in that arena, to come join us in beautiful West Cliff, Colorado to do some of this work. So you don't have to do it alone.
Correct.
But maybe this video sparks some thoughts for you of like, hey, is this happening? Am I feeling this loyalty? Am I feeling this pressure? Am I feeling this questioning of self-worth if I don't stay where I am? And Alex and I have pivoted a lot in our profession, so we're like champions for you to get curious of
Yes.
what works for you now.
Yes.
It's a new year, it's 2025. What do you want to see in your business this year?
Yeah.
And it might be something different than you've ever had before.
Yeah.
So we invite you to join us in June. Hope this video is helpful as you think about your journey here in 2025 and beyond.
Yes.
See you next time.